what's up, y'all? It's your girl, J Rose. I'm super excited to be here with our 2026 freshman class. Today, I'm sitting with Agent Poems, who happens to be, I just found out, our youngest freshman in the history of freshmen, only 17 years old and already killing the scene, already a published author. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, I'm so excited. I want to know, because especially you being so young, and I promise I won't harp on this the whole time. When did you first realize that poetry was more than just writing for you as a young writer?
So originally I didn't like writing. I think writing was so ill to me because school and writing, it
was like homework.
Yeah, so I never wanted to do my homework. But after I lost my father pretty young. And I didn't really know how to handle that.
Right.
So Shay the poet, who happens to be my cousin.
Hey, Shay. Shout out to Shay.
She kind of inspired me to start writing poems. So I started writing poems for myself here and there just about my emotions. And it really helped me express myself. And then one of my first mentors, Kim Goodlook Seabrook.
Oh, I love her. Shout out to Kim.
She seen some of my work and inspired me to actually start recording and posting it. And that's how I started my Agent Poems Instagram account and started posting my work. And I seen how other people responded to how emotional I was about my grief and how people also been through similar things. So that made me want to write more general poems to people who could relate to my pain or just pain in general. So that's kind of where I realized that writing for me was less about just writing and more for my emotions, but also people who've been through similar situations as me.
Yeah, and poetry will do that. Do you remember the first poem you wrote?
The first poem I wrote, if I'm not mistaken, was called Expectations. Now, I love this poem, but I haven't remembered it, which really sucks. I should probably remaster it. But no, the purpose of Expectations was I felt like I just had a lot of expectations on me. From just people in general. Yeah, because I do sports outside of this, so it's just
what sports are you into?
I do football. I'm a quarterback.
Okay, yeah. QB. All right.
So I was performing. I was doing piano and singing before I started poetry and football. So I've done a little bit of everything.
You're pretty well rounded. Yeah. That's pretty dope. How are you able to balance the passion for performance and the passion for sports? Because both take a certain level of dedication. So how do you balance that?
That's a good question. I don't think I do.
That's very honest.
Which is actually kind of the entire point of the project I'm working on. It kind of focuses and highlights on how if I put too much on one side, how I'm kind of disregarding the everyday side of me. So especially when writing my first book, I spent 3 months.
First book. So you're on your second.
Yes.
Dang, you got more books than me, and you're half my age.
The first book,
incredible.
I spent 3 months just nonstop, just working, including school. I would go to school. I'd use my computer, write in school. I'd go home. I'd write at home. I wasn't doing my homework. I wasn't really balancing that life. So the second book really focuses on yes, first book was successful, but what is the cost of that success? What is the burnout, the downside to success? So it's really just an internal argument between Agent Poems, my poetry side, and feeling like he needs to do this. And then Braylon, the football player, the pianist, the everyday side that feels like he's being disregarded and his feelings aren't being taken into consideration because, I'm putting all my energy in just to this one thing, which is poetry. So, yeah.
Wow. Incredible. And, finding balance is really hard. So it's already hard, for people that are way older and more experienced with life. So I could imagine the challenges for someone kind of just at the beginning of your journey. So I'm guessing you're still kind of refining your creative process. So what is something within your creative process that you feel you've mastered, and what is something that you're still trying to get your grip on?
I'll start getting a grip on. I think I'm still trying to get a grip on memorization.
Okay.
I think that I have a lot of great poems out there, but me and memorizing are two enemies, especially with school and everything. But something I'd say that I really mastered I like to use repetition in my poems. I think I know where to put them, my proper use of it.
Okay, reframe. Let's go.
And just overall, just getting the message I'm trying to receive. Like, I know, like, if I feel like I'm not getting the message I want to do, I might rewrite the poem. But once I get a grasp of what I want to write about, I think I do really well of conveying that message through my words.
Right. Now, with the memorization, do you feel like, is that pressure that you put on yourself for that? Or is that something that you feel is more the culture of performance poetry?
I think it's a little bit of both. Sometimes I put pressure on myself to memorize certain poems. And then also it's just, performance poetry. I think that you can perform a poem off your phone, but I think memorization and being able to really like not look down at your phone and being able to look up and engage with the crowd.
Embody.
It gives the poem an extra layer to it, without having to write anything new. It just adds an extra layer to it.
No, I could definitely understand that. But just know that like it's okay to read from your phone. You can see so many people that like paved paths for us. And you see them on stages now and they're reading from, their notebooks. They're reading from a music stand. There's an elegant way to still do it. But that was definitely something that was, I think a lot of young, or not young, but like new poets, right? Because you could be a new poet at like any age. So, hold on. So what is the most vulnerable poem you've ever written?
The most vulnerable poem I ever written. I have a poem about the day I lost my father.
Okay.
I'd say that's the most poem.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, I've only performed it once.
I could imagine.
I've never performed it more than once. I performed it at a teen poetry slam.
Oh, yeah.
With the Harlem Bomb Shelter.
Okay, yes. I know that poem got a lot of points. The trauma that be racking up those points.
I do have a lot of tearjerkers, but I'd say for me, out of all the poems I perform, it'll probably be that poem. Seeing as how, like, me personally, I don't know if I've ever performed that poem again.
Right. You don't have to. You don't have to for real, you don't have to put yourself through that just for people that are watching. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that that's something that's lost in the sauce of absorbing art, is that sometimes as the absorber, people aren't thinking about what that process is doing to the artist on the stage. So it's okay. You don't have to do that poem again. What was your reaction when you found out that you were selected for the freshman class?
Yo, I think I was getting out of school and I was on my way home and
getting out of school.
I just randomly like
ninth period ended.
I randomly check my phone. I see this message. I'm like, yo, I ran to my mom. I'm like, Mom, like, I don't know if I can tell you this, but like, yo, like, I was just so excited because like I seen it last year and I was like, dog, it's just like, it's such a cool opportunity to be noticed by like other poets and to be considered into like something like the freshman class. I wanted to go to like the Rose Garden open mic events for so long and I'm like, I think I'm too young. I can't go. I'm like, so just to be like in an area with such like great poets and just, you know, around just amazing people. It's just so exciting.
Oh my gosh. I love that. All right. Let's do a quick lightning round of questions. All right. One
boom.
Answer. You got no time to think about it.
Right.
Okay. While you're writing, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay. When you're writing, pen and paper or your notes app?
Pen and paper.
Okay. Old school.
I've gotten used to pen and paper
Okay.
now.
A poet that changed your life?
I'd say Black Chakra.
Ooh.
Yes.
Gang.
Yes.
Okay. A song that feels like poetry?
Close.
Ooh.
By J. Cole, I believe.
Okay. Okay. And one word that describes your artistry?
Vulnerable.
Ooh. My heart. Okay. So, Agent Poems, are you ready to show us what freshmen do?
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right, we'll be right back with a performance from Agent Poems.
So, fun fact, I don't cry. And people think that means I'm strong, like my chest is carved from something that doesn't melt under pressure, but the truth is it's not strength, it's muscle memory. It's inheritance. Lesson I never meant to learn, but learned anyway, because anytime life hit me hard enough to make my vision blur, something whispered in me, don't, not here, Not now, not in front of them, not in front of anyone, and I used to wonder where that voice came from. The tightness in my throat, the instinct to look away, wipe nothing from my eyes and pretend that it's dust or sweat or anything but the truth. But then I realized that I have never seen my father cry. Not once. Not a crack in his voice, a shine in his eyes, a moment where he let the world know it hurt him too. I watched him stand in storms and call it weather. Watched him carry grief on his back like luggage he refused to put down. I watched life break him open in places he never showed, because a man isn't supposed to show what it costs to stay standing. And somewhere along the line, I became his reflection. Same jaw, same posture, same quiet. So I've been told an apple does not fall far from the tree. But mine didn't fall at all. It stayed hanging on the same branch that held it, trying to be the same shape as the branch that held it. So no, I don't cry. And sometimes I wish I did, because I can feel the weight of every tear I've never shed pressing against my ribs, trying to break out in the only language emotion knows, water. So I hold it like he held it, like his father probably held it, like men in my family were taught to be oceans with no waves, and I hate it. I hate that I mistake silence for strength. Hate that I flinch at softness. Hate that I've inherited a drought in a world begging me to feel, but I love him. And I know that he loves me, even if neither of us knew how to shed a tear without feeling like the world was breaking us open. So here I stand, a son with dry eyes and a heart full of water, trying to decide if I want to be the one to pass this down or finally break this curse. So maybe one day I'll cry, not because I'm weak, but because I'm finally free. They say an apple does not fall far from the tree, but sometimes, just sometimes, it grows roots of its own and becomes something brave enough to bloom.
Awesome, man.